Good morning. Today I'm gonna go out to the garden and plant some stuff. I want to share with you my little seed process, and then I'm gonna come back in, I'm gonna make a smoothie, and then we'll do some fun food today and go through what I'm eating and just hang out, okay? So I started doing this last year and got super upset, a little too obsessed because I got way too many seeds. But you can get these photo boxes and they make really good storage for seeds. Is anybody else gardening? Who's gardening? I want to hear from you. I'm totally a novice and last year was hit or miss. One thing I had really good success with, and I'm going to go plant these right now today, is ground cherries. If you've never had ground cherries, they're the most awesome thing. They taste kind of like, it's kind of like a cross between a tomato and a pineapple, and like, I can't even explain it. I've never had anything else like it. They're so good. So I'm gonna plant a ton of these. You can't get them at the store. I'm gonna plant some cantaloupe. I'm gonna plant some beans only because of success, not because they're my favorite. They're supposed to be really prolific. I'm gonna plant some cucumbers, a bunch of varieties. And this is how I store them, in these little photo things. And I've got 2 boxes of flowers that I'm gonna plant for the bees, to keep the bees happy and because they're beautiful, and for hummingbirds. But you get these photo holders, and then I just, I have them categorized in a way that makes sense to me with the labels. And then, yeah, I keep them in here and they should last, a few years. There's this YouTube channel that I love. It's called Roots and Refuge Farm. Jess is amazing. She convinced me that I could garden. Her channel did. I don't personally know her. So I kind of went all in, and I got these really cool garden beds. I mentioned before that I planted some blackberry bushes, they're sticks, but now they're actually growing into a plant. That container, it's called Vegega, and there's another brand, but I like the Vegega. I don't know how to really say it, but I like this particular brand because they're cheaper, and I can't really tell the difference between them. So I got these beautiful raised beds. The one that I'm planting the blackberries in, it's low because they get big, they get tall, but the other ones are super tall. And if you have issues with your hands or mobility or anything like that, these beds are really great. They make gardening a lot more accessible than the ones that are on the ground. So you have to be like on the ground. It's just so much easier. And I think they look really cool. So I'll link everything below. These seeds I got from a variety of places like Baker Creek. I like the little mom and pop seed shops, and they're all organic, of course. But anyway, this is my fun little project for today. And then I'm gonna come in and make a smoothie with you, and we'll have fun, okay? I'll see you in a minute. I'm just planting a really big variety of stuff. Lots of color. The bees and the hummingbirds love this stuff. I'm so excited. This is my favorite thing in my garden other than the flowers. These ground cherries are amazing. So this whole thing is going to be ground cherries. I'm very excited about these. Okay, so this bed here, this is all lettuce, various types of lettuce. And one row didn't do so well. So this is going to be pansies, which I can also put in my salad. I love a salad filled with color, and they taste great too. So we're adding pansies to this bed. I'm going to plant sunflowers in this low bed because they get really tall. Anything that gets tall goes over here. I had some in here last year and they were really, really pretty. I'm just gonna mix them in with the blackberries. while to get back out here and start gardening this year because, well, the weather. Obviously the weather. I really am planting some stuff too soon, but last year with my hands, the gardening I was doing kind of set things into a domino effect, and I feel that though this happened due to stress, the repetitive work with my hands really helped accelerate things. So yeah, so I'm a little bit gun shy this year, but I'm feeling really excited about what's, this nurturing of plants and seeds and how it's gonna, be a exciting thing in my life. It's so fun when things start sprouting and coming up, especially the flowers. So anyway, wish me luck, and let's go make a smoothie. This is my latest combination. Flax and chia blend, a nub of ginger, some greens. These are just a super green blend. Frozen bananas. I try to make it so that it equals 1 banana. And organic blueberries, stevia, but I like this vanilla stevia. It's Now brand, and I really like the combination with the blueberries. I also do the almond milk. This is acceptable, and this is vanilla flavored. So you could just skip the stevia, but I like to sweeten it up a little bit because the berries aren't very sweet, and I just like that more depth, and I'm okay with the stevia. Okay, I'm gonna blend this up. Okay, so this is the outcome. It's a little bit purpley and nice and frozen. Super delicious. This is so refreshing after being outside. So I'll come back and we will make lunch together, okay? I'll see you in a bit. Some of you have asked me for my veggie burger recipe, and I never measure food. So this is an experiment. Also, the other thing I'm doing that I never do is, instead of cooking all this stuff individually, what if we just cooked it all at once? So let's see if it'll work. It's kind of a risk, but let's see if it'll work. We're gonna make a small amount. So I'm just gonna put some lentils, and I'm using 1/2 cup for each thing. It sounds about right. I'm just not. I literally don't measure my stuff. So we will learn together. Okay, so I've got some short grain brown rice, and I've got some oats. It all cooks at a different speed, I know that, but let's just see what happens, okay? I'm gonna put some salt in here, but I'm not gonna put the other seasonings yet. And I think maybe we'll do 1.5 cups of water, okay? And we're gonna put an extra 1/2 cup in for the pot, because I feel like it won't hurt. We're just gonna mix all this stuff up together anyway to form the burgers, but I'm gonna add onion and mushroom, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're just gonna experiment and see if this works. So 1/2 cup of each thing, 2 cups of water. Okay, rice setting, fingers crossed. Okay, so let's see how our experiment worked. Okay, it's wonderful. Look, it's perfect. I'm so excited about this because sometimes I don't make veggie burgers because I don't want to deal with all the separate stuff, and this just totally solves that problem. So I've got some yellow onions from the freezer. Whenever I can't finish my food, I've learned that I can just cut it up and freeze it, pretty much everything, before it goes bad. So I've got these onions, and we're gonna put a ton of mushrooms. While I'm chopping these mushrooms, I wanted to point out to you that in my description box, there's a link to get a list of, it's a grocery list for Dr. Goldner's autoimmune protocol, the fully raw one. And in that link, there's a few questions that you can answer them or not answer them. It's just helping me to get to know you better. You don't have to leave your name or anything like that. But I'm getting some really good feedback about what you need, what your struggles are, and how I can help you. So if it moves you to click on that link, and I think there's like 5 questions, it'll really help me to understand what you need so that I can make content that you really want, that will be the most helpful to you. And then if you're doing her, I mean, you're probably not doing it now because you're watching me cook food, but if you are interested in doing her raw protocol, it's just the list that I used to get all my stuff. And it's printable and just makes life easier. If you have any vegetables, I really like putting broccoli in my veggie burgers, cauliflower, anything you like, you can put them right in. And we're just gonna saute these without oil. I like to use non-toxic cookware. So this pan is carbon steel. I like this one because it's light. Well, it's not that light, but it's light compared to my cast iron. Cast iron is my favorite. My very favorite is the cast iron. But just for the purposes of having it right here for you, I'm gonna link this below because they're non-toxic. It's non-stick. You season them like you do with the cast iron, and so they create a really nice non-stick surface, but they're less fussy than the cast iron, which the cast iron is totally worth any effort. I don't really feel like it's that much effort, but this is even less. We're just gonna put the mushrooms in. And then while this is sauteing, we're gonna season up the mixture that we have in the Instant Pot. See how nice that came? That's awesome. Okay, so some stuff that I'm using here: garlic granules, smoked paprika. This is really important, I think. And turmeric twist. I put it in everything. We're just gonna fluff it up. And so we're gonna add a little bit of turmeric twist, not a whole lot of that, but we are gonna put a lot of smoked paprika. And then, so I'm not measuring, I'm just shaking, just a couple shakes. I'm so bad at not measuring. It just gives it a really nice smoky flavor. Just a little bit of garlic. You can use powder too. I like the granules sometimes better than the powder. And we're also gonna add some coconut aminos and some walnuts. For the walnuts, we're gonna do everything half a cup. So we do half a cup of walnuts. And I wasn't paying attention and I accidentally put some in here. We're just gonna overlook that. I think it'd be easy if everything's a half a cup, right? So let's see if it works. Maybe we'll do it with that mixture too. Maybe we'll do a half a cup of that too. And then I just chop these up. So we're going to put some coconut aminos. I really like the Trader Joe's brand. They're a little bit sweet. And we're gonna put a little bit of nutritional yeast, just a little bit, maybe, what's this, a tablespoon-ish? Now, if I weren't gluten-free right now, I would add panko breadcrumbs because then it gives it a little crunch. It's like a secret ingredient. So if you don't have an issue with gluten, I recommend adding that. Okay, and now it just needs the mushrooms and we'll be set to get them ready. Okay, what we are gonna do, I really love the texture of oats in my burgers. So at the end, we're gonna add just a few more oats so that they're all in one piece and not cooked down. I used to think that you had to use oil when you sauteed mushrooms, that you had to, or they wouldn't turn out and they wouldn't get brown. It totally works without it. Same with the onions. We are gonna use a little bit of fat when we're doing the burgers. And we're not gonna use this. I don't like using this other than in the air fryer because it puts like a coating on the pan. We're gonna use regular avocado. I'll show you how I do it. Okay, after we get our patties ready for the burgers, we're gonna use cast iron. I think it makes things crispier. And this right here is my favorite pan that I've ever had. It's a Field skillet. It gets just as slick as a nonstick, and there's nothing toxic in here. They're awesome. I'll link this below. They're not cheap, but they're worth it. These are like your grandmother's skillet. Remember way back in the day when they were just totally slick, just like a nonstick, before nonsticks came out. And they were just used all the time, and they were black like this. When you first get one of these, it comes brown, but after you use it a while, it's black. And you know, you just keep it seasoned. It's really not that hard. These are machined so that they are as slick, so you don't have to like spend years and years and maybe decades to get them this slick. You could fry an egg in this. You're not gonna fry an egg, right? Because you're gonna be plant-based, but you could fry an egg in this and it's just totally nonstick. They're awesome. So we're gonna let the skillet heat up because it's more effective if it's warm when you put the stuff in it. And I said we were just gonna do a half a cup of this, just so that all of our measurements are the same to make it easy. It's a heaping. So this is a quarter of a cup, so we're doing 2 of these. Okay, so there's a half a cup of mushrooms. So we've mixed all this up. Now, like I said before, we're gonna add some oats just to give it a nicer texture. And I'm just doing just a few sprinkles of it. Maybe a couple tablespoons. So what I'm gonna do for this in the skillet is I'm just gonna put a few drops, then I'm gonna take a paper towel and kind of spread it all out so it's just so it would be equal to a couple sprays of this, okay? I don't like the spray on my skillet. And this is also how I season my skillet at the end. I'll clean the skillet, no soap, and then I'll put it back on the stove, make sure it's totally dry, then I will take a paper towel and just lightly, then after that you wipe it off like it was never there, but it's enough to really soak into the pores of the cast iron and season it. And after doing that a few times, your skillet it's just the best ever. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a small patty, just like that. And I'm gonna make several of these and then go put them in. And I make them a little bit thicker because I'm gonna smash them down with the spatula. Did you hear that? We're just gonna do 2. It's kind of messy. It's kind of sticky. Look at how great these are holding together. I think they're the perfect texture. So the last time I made these with you, I served them on iceberg lettuce, but today I thought I would try this. If you are not gluten-free, you can obviously use something like Ezekiel or some buns, but I got this at the co-op. And the only thing I don't like about this is it's not organic, but the ingredients are pretty good. And then if you really want to junk it up a little bit and you miss your cheese, Violife has some really good cheese, vegan cheese. I consider this junk food. It does have some coconut oil in it, but it's really good and it melts. And I'll show you what it looks like. When I am making a burger into a cheeseburger, I like to melt the cheese in the skillet. If you want this to go faster, you can just take a lid from one of your other pots and put it on like this. It'll melt it very quickly. This is what the bread looks like before it's toasted. All right, I've got some iceberg lettuce and some purple onion, Trader Joe's ketchup, and Trader Joe's mustard. Just gonna put some of this. I really love iceberg lettuce on certain things. I haven't had bread in any form since last August. So this is, I'm curious to see how I'm. So here is our burger. Looks pretty, huh? And I'm gonna take a bite. It's good. Good job. Happy healing, and thank you for being here. I adore you guys.